So when I was a kid, my dad taught me how to make what's called a batch file in MS-DOS. Do you remember what a batch file is? Do you know what that is?
I feel like that's something I knew once, but I'm not sure I remember.
Basically, you could write a file that when you typed like one word,
It'd do all the thing.
It would do all the typing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you could also make it display things. And so one of the things I did on the computer we had is I had a bunch of video games. And I thought I was like basically programming ENIAC or whatever the first computer was. Like I thought I was like doing something incredible, but I would type in something like games. And when I would type in games, the screen would come up and say, "Hello, Destin." No audio. This was all text, but it had a voice in my head. "Hello, Destin. What games would you like to play?" And I had categories, and it was like action. And really, all I was doing was I just made a screen that had text on it. Action, mystery, puzzles, whatever. And you would type whatever you wanted to play, and another screen would come up, and it had all the games that I had on the computer that had those, those categories in them. And so I really enjoyed playing old school PC games back in the day, like a billion years ago.
Like what?
Dude, my favorite, Commander Keen. Have you ever heard of Commander Keen?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, God. Commander Keen was amazing. It was this kid with a football helmet, and you use the cursor keys with your right hand, and then your left hand you would use Control and Alternate, just the layout of the keyboard. And using those keys, you would have Commander Keen go do different things, and he was on an alien planet, and he was eating candy bars in order to power up and jump and all this.
Because that does that.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so good. And he had a pogo stick, which was a big deal. That was great. And so it was amazing. And do you remember the old games, like in 5th grade, 6th grade, the outnumbered games? Do you remember those? The little math education games?
I got nothing. I have nothing.
Well, you know Where in the World Was Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, I got that one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you like that?
Yeah, it was fun. It felt a little simplistic in terms of, by comparison to the games we got to play at home. At home, we had games like King's Quest, where you would go from screen to screen, and each screen would be a different part of this world. It was mildly three-dimensional, so it wasn't like a side-scroller. You could walk back into the image just a little bit.
Like Wolfenstein?
No, it wasn't 3D like
Doom.
GoldenEye, cruising around fighting. It was mostly 2D.
There was
just
some perspective to it.
Yes, Thank you. So you could walk back into the image. You had some little sticks and stuff you could hit people with, but it was really uninspired. And I'm not sure even what the point of the game was. I guess there was probably a quest, but it was a lot of reading with some pictures, and you walked around through each screen's worth of pictures, and you'd read, and it was okay.
So it was like an RPG, a role-playing game.
Very primitive one.
There's one, I never played it, but I knew the existence of one called Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, okay. All right. Folks at home who are listening with the youngsters, you might want to preview this next part, because that game is a little raunchy.
It was like the Grand Theft Auto of the day, right?
I think it was more hardcore than Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, it was bad.
It was like a little pixelated nudity and...
Really?
Yeah, I think it was pretty trashy, man.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I mean, I wasn't allowed within a country mile of anybody who would have that on their computer as a kid.
Yeah.
So I don't have a single keystroke into Leisure Suit Larry. I don't know for sure, but the rumor is amongst the 5th graders at Bowder Elementary that game gets a little hot and heavy.
What was the first video game you ever played? Because I have a memory of the first time I ever interacted with an image on a screen, and it was some type of game type thing. I have a memory of that.
I think it was Cubert or Joust or Centipede. There were 3 games together at Happy Joe's in Maquoketa, Iowa. They had a little train that ran around the top, and they would serve you pizza. And people didn't eat pizza back then. That was new. And so if people were like, we're going to go to the pizza place, it wasn't like, which one? So, well, we're going to Happy Joe's. That's the place that has the pizza. And you go there, and they had 3 arcade games. And I'd walk over, and never, ever, ever would my parents give me a quarter to play that game. I mean, Dad's a minister in the community. He's got a reputation to uphold.
You can't play Cubert?
No, you can't play Cubert. What are you, a pornographer? No, so I go over there, and I'd watch other people play, or I'd just watch the sample. And one time there were some older kids, and they're like, dude, you want to play one? Yeah. And they let me play their Last Life on, I don't remember which, like Centipede or something else. And then I think it was shortly after that I noticed that they put a quarter in, it came back out the bottom. And I was like, well, if that came out the bottom hard enough, it could fall underneath. Somebody wouldn't know. So I went and dug around underneath the arcade games, and I found quarters under there.
Really?
Yeah. So I got my first little taste from somebody just walking away and leaving a life. But after that, I found a couple quarters under there, and I did not think, oh, let's invest these, or I could use this on... Mm-mm.
Oh, there's only one thing to do.
Putting that right back in the robot.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I played those games, and it went very, very quickly. Super fast death. I think maybe I played all three the same day, Joust, Centipede, and Cubert. I think that was my first experience. You?
Preschool. I went to preschool with this little... I don't know. I don't even really understand what it was. But there are two memories that stuck out. One memory was it was like a round school. It's like a single building. And Mom would drop me off, and I would go into the door, and I was in school. And that was it. And then I would go right to my little room. Well, one day something happens, and she drops me off, and I'm at the wrong door, and she didn't realize or didn't think it was a big deal, and I didn't understand. So I walked in, and when I walked in, it wasn't what I was expecting. And it was myself and my cousin. And I turned back around, and I walked out of the door. So I went outside the school. And my mom had already left. And I looked, and I didn't know what to do. And so I just hid in the bush right there.
Naturally.
Yeah, I just hid. I was like, well, I'm in the wrong place, so I'll just hide in the bush. And then some adult comes along, and they find me, and they're like, hey, let's get you to where you need to go or whatever.
Okay.
But it was terrifying.
Young man, are you hiding in a bush?
That 45 that 45 seconds was
in the bush.
Terrifying in the bush.
Yeah, you're on walkabout.
And then the second memory I have from that preschool was there was a computer, and I played a Cookie Monster reading game of some sort, except I couldn't read. But I remember the image. I have a distinct image of Cookie Monster on a screen, and I can remember just what the area looked like. I don't know. So there was that. And then I also remember playing an Atari at my uncle's house. There was a game called Pitfall, which I never understood.
Sure, yeah.
I just could not understand Pitfall for some reason. And then later on, fast forward, I remember at the Civic Center, my mom would go do these workout classes. You know, when like the ladies wear the little scrunchy leg things.
Oh, yeah, jazzercise.
That kind of stuff, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so she was doing that, and I got to go to the end of the hall there, and there were like ping pong tables, and there were arcades. And there was a game called Dig Dug.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
He'd shoot the little squiggly thing.
Yeah, I had no idea what that.
And
then you pump it.
That
was like the most advanced thing I had ever seen. Mm-hmm. That was huge. And, you know, obviously I had seen Pac-Man and stuff like that before, but that was the first like visceral, like, what is this? You know, my brain was online and I could understand it. Yeah, they're fun, man. I don't know. What was your first at-home console?
Dude, you've anticipated the questions I wanted to ask you, like two in a row right there.
I beat you to it.
Nice job. My first at-home console, we got an Atari 2600 from a garage sale one time, and you had to hook it up to like a little adapter, and then with wires, you had to strip the wires, and you had to screw the wires out the back of the console into the little adapter.
Like to hook it to the TV.
Right.
So you had that little adapter square thing.
Right.
I don't even know what that was.
It was meant to go on like some sort of cable receptor.
The antenna part or something.
Yeah, we had a black and white TV at that point. We didn't get a color TV until like well into childhood. Mm-hmm. Just because my parents just didn't care. We did not do such things. We didn't have a VCR.
I played Double Dribble on a black and white TV for years.
Double Dribble.
Yeah, dude, that was good. Do it again.
That's all I got. That hurt me.
That was really good. That was like, oh wow, you can actually hear that in Blades of Steel.
Yes, yeah, same sound. Just imagine me doing that, but I want to be able to finish this. So
that was amazing. Did you inhale while you were speaking?
Yeah, that's what I think I just did.
I can't do it.
It's terrifying now. And one of the things I remember is there was like this brown cord that held the 2 prongs of wire that you needed to connect to the screws on your TV. It was like a flat brown cable, and it had two little silver wires that came out the end. And there was like a flat part in the middle of the cable that made sure the wires stayed way apart. And you'd constantly trim it down to get fresh leads out of the end that you could screw into your TV.
Because they would oxidize.
Sure. I have no idea. And so we kept trimming it down, and I remember ours got so short that it was like, oh no, I can't connect the thing anymore. Like we cut all of our leader off. We got to put a new leader on there, using fishing terms now. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a crisis, and it was about that time we got rid of that TV. We got one out of the trash, and it was color. That was my life growing up.
Very, very
So we
heavy.
had a 2600, and I played a game called Yar's Revenge. And it was like some bug thing, and you flew it around, you try to shoot through this shield, and something was on the other side. That 2600 also had Defender. No, Missile Command.
Oh, yeah.
And I really liked Missile Command.
Uh-huh.
There was no end or objective. You shoot the things before they come down, obviously.
So,
And that was it.
So I knew enough about computers. My dad was a really big computer guy. The earliest computers I remember working with were the kind you would have to boot up the operating system.
With a boot disk.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And so, so we used to do all kinds of stuff. And I remember in 5th grade we got a computer, and I remember loading games on Miss Easley's machine for her. I was like, we need at least Banatron here. Let's just
Snakebite.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was fun. So I think video games are awesome. All the ones that I played growing up were educational in nature, for the most part, with the exception of like Banatron or Arkanoid, stuff like that.
Oh,
You remember Arkanoid?
Yeah. Boom, boom. I mean, it's advanced Pong.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing we like to do here in the back catalog, I mean, if you're listening to an older episode, there used to be an ad here. Mm-hmm. We've used these in the past to come back through and explain our current situation. Matt, will you just explain basically what's going down with Armageddon? Can you just explain it? People don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the quick version. There was a huge meteorite. It was headed toward Earth. And we had a long conversation about it, a national debate, and ultimately we decided that instead of sending astronauts to go up and land on the asteroid and figure out how to divert it with explosives, we would send explosive experts and just teach them how to astronaut real quick. That did not work at all. Now we've had impact.
Turns out that was moronic. That did not work.
Terrible idea.
Yes.
Yep. Way, way harder to astronaut than it is to simply light a very long fuse at the end of a roll of 8 sticks of dynamite, or hit a plunger while dressed up like a crazy old Western prospector. And so because of those decisions that we made and that we all own together, we've seen most of the plant life on Earth wiped out, and we now eat synthetic sludge that comes from our synthetic sludge producers in our underground bunkers where we live with the remaining survivors. But I guess the point is, one, to send back words of wisdom to help you think through what you might do when
Here in the back
get to the
catalog,
time where you have to make that
Yeah.
fateful decision. The fate of the future rests in your hands, but also to plead for your help as we fight for the fate of humanity on our timeline. Destin, what could people listening to the back catalog do?
Yeah, well, we found there's really only one thing that keeps our nutrition sludge machines working. And
One thing.
yeah, it is patreon.com/nodumbquestions.
Yes.
We've learned
Yes.
that if people that are listening to the back catalog will support the podcast on Patreon, for some reason, it's kind of like a smoothie machine, only it's powered by algae, and it doesn't need photosynthesis. We haven't figured that part out because there's too much volcanic
And it
ash.
comes out much slower than
Yes.
a smoothie. I mean, it takes a minute.
But once people support at patreon.com/nodumbquestions, for some reason the sludge comes out faster, and it's not tasty, but we appreciate that. So thank you to everyone that supports, from the past. You support the future at patreon.com/nodumbquestions. Yeah, that's where we're at.
It's basically just tar and ground up caterpillars, but it's what we have. And every time you click that link on patreon.com/nodumbquestions, one of the orphans living in this underground futuristic bunker with us
Finds another
receives
caterpillar.
one small cup of tar and caterpillar sludge to make it through one more day. Thank you so much. I mean, won't you think of the children?
Yes. Thank you so much. Patreon.com/NoDumbQuestions. Thank you. Just take me down nostalgia lane. What were a couple of really, really good favorites for you? You could get lost for hours.
Oh, I'll tell you one, and this maybe should have been my answer to what was your first video game. I don't know if this counts, but I had a game. It was by some Japanese company like Tokai or something, and it was called Football. And what you do is you had just these little LED lights that would light up, and you could push up or forward on this button, and you had a button that was pass. And that was it. And so you had, I don't even know what to liken it to. It was like an LCD kind of thing. And so there were just only certain places the football could be, and it would illuminate that spot when the ball was traveling past there.
Oh, yeah.
And you just learned the patterns and figured out how to move your little guy through the line and score points. So just a gray background with darker gray images that could fill up, and you play a football game against somebody else. I think that was my first one.
Oh, the handheld thing?
Yeah, it was a handheld thing.
Yeah,
There's no
like
TV.
Tiger?
Tiger. You know what? It might have been Tiger.
No, Tiger Electronics? You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
it
about.
might have been Tiger Electronics. That's what I'm saying. It feels like the football game might have been whatever. You're picturing what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
now.
little handheld thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Then after that, we had the arcade situation, and my Jenny, the little girl I had the crush on when I was a kid, her name was Faith. I just thought she was the most
Jenny
wonderful.
being a reference to Forrest Gump.
Nice catch.
Yeah, thank you.
Except Faith has lived a lovely life and has done great, but I just thought she was the ideal of girl. She's the best, and I'm in like second grade. Like I don't know, she's great. And her parents opened up a roller skating rink with some of the other families from church. Yeah.
So she's rich.
I guess I had never thought about it that way.
She has to be rich.
Dude, they put in solar panels. That family, they were awesome. And just crazy, crazy nice family. And so they opened up this roller skating rink. It was like Skate USA or something like that. And you go in there and you get your roller skates and you go over and you put them on. And they had a little soda snack area. It was the best food I'd ever had. And they had an arcade area. And I wasn't very good at the skating thing yet, but that arcade, I never had money to do it, but I'd go over and look. But all the kids whose parents went in and bought the place, they would paint quarters. And so the kids could put the painted quarter in. And then, I mean, they're not going to charge their own kids to play video games. There's no overhead. And so when they would dump out the box, they'd give the kids back the painted quarters. Like you can play X number of games. Your quarters are green. Your quarters are yellow. Your quarters are blue. And so all these different kids would have like 10 green quarters, and they could use them however they wanted. And I would just yearn to have some of them painted quarters that come back. They always come back. And over there, they had Donkey Kong. They had Super Mario Brothers. I'd never seen that before. And like the screen would scroll when you'd move. And it was just all so new and interesting to me. Pinball, didn't care. That was for old people. But these console or these stand-up arcade games, I couldn't get enough. Then shortly thereafter, we moved and I got the Atari 2600, played it briefly. Parents felt like we played it too much. They put serious limits. We hardly ever got to play it after that. But then Adam Doty, his parents, because he is an only child, and they really wanted him to be happy, I guess, they went and got him a Nintendo Entertainment System.
What?
The gray box.
That's a big day.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big day.
I don't feel any urge to go back and play any of those other things I told you. I don't want to go play Tiger football or whatever. But all the games that came out on that gray box, my heart yearns to play them still. The music, when I turn it on, it all comes back to me. I find myself humming little ditties and being like, that's got to be from something. It's Blaster Master. And I just, why would I even care? How is that still in my brain? But it's all still in there. And all of those feelings of we go up and Adam's parents would get him a new game and we'd go home and we'd unwrap it and we'd pop it in. like some of them just sucked. They were awful games, and we'd play them for a while and then get bored. But some of them were amazing. What was your first gray box Nintendo game?
Super Mario with Duck Hunt.
Oh, the twin cartridge that came with it.
Came with it, yeah. So I remember we got that. It was a big, big day. Mom and Dad, one of them was working third shift. I couldn't remember which one, but I remember I went to bed, and when I woke up, I heard Dad had beaten Bowser.
Dad did?
One day, I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I stayed up. Got all the way to the castle, beat Bowser. I was like, no, is that even possible? He's like a dragon. How'd you do that? It's like shooting missiles out of his face.
The answer is he had a really unfortunately planned castle with easily timed obstacles, and his only real power was to slow down my ability to jump when too many pixels were moving on the screen at any one time. But gradually I learned that, and then foolishly he left a big axe on the other side of a bridge, and he jumped real high in the air.
I never understood the axe. I always thought of it as like a wind-up thing.
Maybe that was it. I don't remember.
I didn't really get it.
The game was hard.
So have you ever heard of a guy on YouTube called Smooth McGroove?
I think that guy's... Yes, and enthusiastic yes.
Okay, so Smooth McGroove makes... I don't know if he's still making things or not. I'm going to pull this up. But he makes music on... Basically, he does... What's the matter?
Quiz me.
What do you mean?
Let's do it. Pick some old 8-bit stuff and see if I remember it. See if it's still in my brain.
Okay, so I'm going to play the Smooth McGroove song. Mm-hmm. And okay, here we go. Let's see. Smooth McGroove. Here
it's got to be 8-bit. Tetris.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, man. Okay. It's got to be 8-bit. Okay, here we go. 1986. Here's one.
That's just the overworld theme from Legend of Zelda.
No, it's not.
Wait. Wait. Let me get into it.
You don't have it.
I don't have it.
It's Metroid.
Of course it is. It's Brinstar theme in Metroid.
I never played Metroid, really, so that was new to me. Golly, man, he was good.
I'm not done. No, you let me redeem myself.
No, that was it.
You're a monster.
It was a one strike, you're out. That was. Okay.
You did not set those parameters.
Okay, here we go. I'll give you some more. The problem is a lot of it's not. I think Smooth McGroove might not be as old as we are, so there's some. Like, he doesn't have the old stuff. Okay, let me see.
He's gonna have the old stuff.
Oh, here we go. This is great.
Punch Out.
Dude.
Bomb. Ba-da-dum. Ba-bom.
Dude, that's
of course. I
always thought that, yeah.
And I can't hear it without the whoop, 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 like the little punch sounds and everything. And
dude, that was really good.
The
good
jingly
job.
stuff. Thank you.
Give the third chair just like a second. If you know it, it'd be like,
I
got
got
it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was bad form. They don't get to play if I do that. This is cool. This is awesome, but I don't know what it is.
You don't have it?
I don't know that one.
That's Mega Man 2. God, Smooth McGroove is so cool.
Man, I can hear that. That's so good. It's a great presentation of that content.
I
want to go scroll it. I'm not going to scroll it. The third chair is having fun right now. This isn't for me. Do it for them, Destin. Couple more. For them. That's a dungeon theme from Zelda.
Yeah.
Did I wait long enough?
No, you didn't.
Dang it. I guess we'll have to do another.
This is really fun. Just let this one breathe.
Okay, I will.
Okay, so the people need to just embrace this.
I have it. It's so cool.
He's so good.
But the music is so cool. Both are true. Bum, 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 bum.
How does he do this?
He's a wizard.
Smooth McGroove, everyone. Go check him out.
That was Contra.
Yeah, that was Contra. It was great. Let's see. When's the last time you uploaded a video? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Still making stuff. 4 or 5 months ago.
Well, you run out of stuff to make.
Do you?
Because how much iconic video game music is there?
All of it.
What do you got?
There's a lot.
What's the stuff that stuck for you when you were a kid?
The music?
Yeah.
I like Castlevania. Oh. Do you remember that?
You're speaking my love language. For some people, it's touch. For others, it's words of affirmation. For others, it's stuff from the original 8-bit Castlevania soundtrack. Yeah, what do you got from Castlevania? Which ones do you like? Why do you like it?
I don't know. It's just really, I couldn't tell you. Just give me some of it right now. I can't remember the actual music from Castlevania. I never owned the cartridge. I just had, there was a guy down the street, Travis. He had Castlevania.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think he appreciated it as much as I thought he should, because he actually had it. When the whip,
yes.
So it was a pretty big deal. Let's see. Smooth McGroove, Castlevania. Do you have it?
Play it for me. I'll try and tell you what track it is from which game. This is just Vampire Killer. This is stage 1-1 of the first game.
Bloody Tears.
Oh, that's Bloody Tears. Okay.
How do you know the names?
I don't know.
This is Vampire Killer.
That's right.
That's the one.
That's right. Did he do any more from Castlevania?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got quite a bit.
God, give me another one.
Let's see. This is Castlevania 4.
I don't know anything about Castlevania 4.
I don't either. That's
not 8-bit.
Oh, that's not him. Hold on. No, it's everybody trying to be Smooth McGroove, but nobody's going to be Smooth McGroove. Yeah, only Smooth McGroove.
The one I really loved was Game 1, Stage 3. It's like got these little hoppy gremlin things.
Can I just play this? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. You might have an out-of-body experience over this.
Okay, I'm ready.
No. No. Never mind. I don't want you to. Hold on. I'm not going to tell you what that was because this is what's going to do it for you.
I'm having fun.
Are you ready?
I'm really having fun.
Here we go. This is for you, right here. You know what it is, don't you?
I don't have it. Give me a minute. It's so good. It's so intrepid. That's what I love about these. There's something about the tools they had to work with musically that just lent themselves to this forward-leaning bravery. I can die 10,000 times and I will be back. I can do this all day, foes of the side scroller.
That was Star Fox.
Which stage?
Your face was like, it wasn't. It was. It just says Corneria Acapella.
Was it the?
It wasn't Star Fox 64.
Yeah, it was the 16-bit version.
Yeah.
I don't know that one as well.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. So there's something about the early video games. They only had certain tools to work with, and they were able to do amazing things. Now we have computers that can calculate every celestial body known in the solar system down to within 3 femtoangstroms or whatever, and it crashes on a Chrome browser.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I still think the simple magic is what makes it awesome. That there are only so many things going on at once. To me, the music is hugely important. You ever get the song in your head where you just can't help it? Like when you're working out, you're like almost breathe the song.
Yeah.
And you're like, I shouldn't be doing that. That's screwing up my breathing, but I'm doing it anyway. The one that gets me is I'll be hitting tennis balls, and I will remember this song from playing Castlevania with Chip and Adam in 5th or 6th grade or whatever it was. And it's that third stage with the Medusa heads and the little bouncing gremlins, and it's like, why would that even be in there? It's such a weird melody. And so the other day I went and looked it up again. I was like, what is that? What was that thing? And I figured out where it was from Castlevania. And then I started listening to orchestral arrangements and stuff people have done with it because they're nerds. I started thinking, when I put my grown-up brain on this, none of these intervals make any sense. Why did he write that? How do you think of that melody? Nobody writes melodies that inventive. And you listen to it really closely, and what you discover is, again, just using Castlevania as an example, despite having these primitive tools, the story that he's telling there musically is this beautiful mix of the sinister, like this dark, evil, vampire, bats, Medusas, like really dark, spooky stuff, mixed with this intrepid, bold, optimistic, uplifting, like, yeah, it's dark, but we're going to beat this thing. That was achieved with these goofy, simple little tools that shouldn't be able to do anything emotionally, but they did, and they stuck in my head forever. And so when newer video games deliver on that kind of melding of the senses, the sound effects, the music, a little bit of fear and anticipation, those are the games that I still love, that work for me now. Did you ever get the video game jitters when you were playing as a kid? Like, the stakes are so high.
Like kind of like the meat sweats.
Yes, does that laugh mean yes?
When you eat too much meat.
Is that a thing? I can't eat too much meat.
Dan from the Slow Mo Guys was over here, and I took them to Big Bob Gibson's barbecue.
That might be too much meat. That's really good.
And we sat down, and Dan said, "I reckon I'll do a Big Bob." And I was like, "Dan, you don't want to do a Big Bob. The sampler, I can do the sampler. Look, it's just got a little bit of everything." Dan, I don't know if you want to do that. He's like, "Reckon I will." And he gets it, and he eats, and about halfway through goes, "Oh, golly, man, I've got the meat sweats." I was like, "Dan, what are the meat sweats?" Because you eat too much meat, you get the meat sweats.
No, you don't.
No, I've never heard that in my life. He's like, "Well, I've got them." It's so good.
Did you ever have the video game palpitations?
Yes, absolutely. I got so worked up and so excited. Usually in a boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
The video games they kind of have final bosses these days, but I know nothing about video games today. But I remember as a kid going up against the final boss, and just that was it. This is the purpose of my life. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
I can either defeat this boss and win the universe.
Yes.
Or not.
Yes.
And I love at the end of Contra when you beat the little alien heartbeat brain thing or whatever that is. You know exactly what I'm talking about, the one that shoots the spiders out. It says, "Congratulations, you've saved the universe."
Yes. On one screen.
Yeah, that was
and it does nothing. Good job.
Yeah, you saved the entire universe. Great.
Good. Not great. Good.
So
you beat Castlevania, which is like the hardest thing I ever did as a kid. And my greatest achievement up to the day that I defeated Castlevania, like that was it. That was the hardest thing I'd ever tried to overcome in my life.
You used the code, though,
including
right?
Like bullying. There ain't no code, homie. Not for Castlevania.
You can beat Castlevania without the code?
I beat Castlevania 2 weeks ago.
Without the code?
No, there ain't no code. There's no code for Castlevania.
Oh, well, I'm thinking about Contra. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Contra's different. I don't know.
Have I been saying Castlevania for the past 30 seconds to a minute?
Something like that, yeah.
I meant to say Contra.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm talking about beating Count Dracula. You walk up these stairs, you get this giant like crescent moon, and you're like, oh, I'm outside, I can feel it. There are no enemies. Why would there be no enemies unless Count Dracula is going to be up here? And then you go up there and you fight him for the first time, and you're like, I beat him. I knocked his stupid head off with my spiky whip. And then he turns into this big skeleton monster, and he just jumps on your head, and you're dead. You're like, what? He's a two-parter. So then you got to go back to the save point.
Dude, those two-part bosses.
Bullcrap.
Let's be real. All the real bosses are two-parters, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
So then I got to figure out how to jump underneath that guy. But I beat him, and I was ecstatic. And what happens is the whole game gives you such a linear experience where everything, you just side-scroll through things. There's no graphics or cutscenes back then. So you're like, what's going to happen when I win? I'm going to unlock some new aspect of this story. I'm going to see a new thing. Maybe I'll get to play a different way. Here is a photo of Castlevania. Look, the castle fell down. Like it's just, you're just like standing on a cliff with your fists on your hips, and there's Dracula's castle in the background, and then it shakes, and without any way crumbling, just goes down.
Just translates down.
And then that screen is just there. until you push a button.
And you're like, there you go.
Great.
I beat it.
That's the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And that's what I got. I might invest more of my life in other things now. I think maybe something else starting now.
This episode of No Dumb Questions is sponsored by HelloFresh. And Matt, I talked to a buddy the other day that's doing something kind of crazy, like straight up crazy.
Okay, like what?
He has got HelloFresh 5 days of the week.
What?
I was like,
commitment.
yeah, I know. I was like, hey,
He's going to be an amazing chef.
that's exactly what he said. He's like, hey, buddy, this is the deal. He's like, I'm single for a short period of time, and I want a new skill. So I'm going to use HelloFresh to absolutely mad lad teach me how to be a chef.
No kidding. And he's going to learn French. Like,
Yeah.
think about how many French words there are in food. The guy's going to be like fluent.
It's impressive. He's also a good photographer, and so what he does is he does two things. He sends me pictures of the food after he's prepared it. So he's got like two things going on. The first thing is he tries to make the food, and he tries to make it like as tasty as possible. And the second thing is he tries to make it look as beautiful as possible. And so that's an interesting component that I haven't quite explored yet. The plating, I think they call it, the plating of the food. I just sent you a couple of texts. That's a photo that he sent me the other day of the way he prepared his food. Like, he could make the pictures for the recipe cards. That's how good his photos are. It's amazing.
Dang. Yes, he could take the pictures for the recipe cards. That is gorgeous.
I know, it is,
I
right?
recognize this one right here. This is the Cajun crusted chicken. I'm just combining a lot of words that I've heard from different menus.
I was going to be so impressed.
I was close. I was close.
I was
It's
going to
a
be
crispy
so impressed.
chicken cayenne chicken cutlets. That is a lot of alliteration. That's it. But I recognized it. That's what it was. It's a crispy chicken cayenne chicken cutlets. That's what that one is. It's
That's
beautiful.
awesome. I'm not saying that you should get HelloFresh literally every night of the week. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that it's good and you should get it. And if you chose to get it every night of the week, have I got an offer code for you? You go to, you can go to, that was pretty good. Did you see like I did that?
Yeah, I do like how you did that.
You can go to HelloFresh.com/NDQ16 and use the code NDQ16 at checkout for 16 free meals and 3 free gifts.
The truth of the matter is I got a little bit fixated on 4 or 5 recipes from HelloFresh that I'm obsessed with. And so we just keep ordering that and we keep getting it. There's no law of diminishing returns. I still love it, but I just hadn't gone and looked for a while. And I was like, well, we're going to talk about it. I should go and see if there's anything new. And dang, there is so much stuff on here that I have not tried that looks amazing. There's some kind of steak with garlic bread and shrimp here that I haven't seen before. There is that cayenne chicken thing that I had never heard of before. Garlic Dijon prosciutto. How do you say that? Prosciutto, is that right?
I don't know.
Wrapped chicken?
It's tasty, though. I don't know how to say it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, here's the deal. Here's how HelloFresh works. So they send the kit to your house. You've got pre-portioned ingredients right to your door, and they get a little recipe card, and you just follow the instructions, and like, voila, you're a chef. You see how I did that? I said voila. That's great.
Oh, I see exactly how you did that. Curried chickpea fritters? Seriously. Mushroom ravioli with kale and walnuts. Chicken schnitzel and pork smorgasbord. So many consonants. 1-pan Cajun chicken sausage skillet.
Did you just say smorgasbord?
Yeah, I said that word, and I can't, I don't know. I think the last time I said the word smorgasbord was when I was imitating the Swedish chef from the Muppets.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. is the
Exactly.
point. But it felt good. It felt right. We travel a lot. We got stuff to do, film things, do work stuff. And so the beauty of this is you can turn it off. You can pause it when you need to, and then you can turn it back on when you need to. And so if you did want to really make this a part of your rhythm and your schedule like we have, it's very, very cooperative, very user-friendly. That's one of the features I like. So in light of that, you can go to HelloFresh.com/NDQ16. You enter the promo code NDQ16, and then you get up to 16 free meals and 3 gifts.
And you could, if you wanted to, have it every single day. I guess what's so awesome about it is you have this goal. There's a goal, and it's clear. The objective is 100% clear. I have to go to the right. I can only scroll to the right. When you first open Mario for the first time, well, I can't go left. Nothing happens. Oh, look, it's scrolling. Okay. I get to discover that on my own. And I guess I'm going to, ooh, golly, what's that guy? I don't know, jump on it. Whoa, he flattened.
I forgot a thing. I'm going to go back and get it. Well, I can't go back. There is only forward.
That's a good video game is designed that way, isn't it? So that you learn as you go. You discover how the thing works.
Yeah.
I think it's clever. I think it's really, really interesting.
I bet 50% of the people listening right now, if you gave them a sheet of graph paper, they could draw the first 30 or 40 feet of Super Mario Brothers, where the pipe is, where the bricks are, how high they are, where the little Goombas crawling along, what's in each of the question mark boxes. They know.
Yeah.
It's all right there.
It's interesting. Huh. Golly. Yeah, I got it in my head. It gets a little fuzzy about halfway through the level, but
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So what are other games you really enjoyed? I had this other one that I really liked called The Incredible Machine. Have you heard of this?
Maybe. Continue.
Formative. Do you know what, if I were to say Rube Goldberg, you know who that is?
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a Supreme Court justice. She just died.
It was your face that sold that. I don't know why, but I can tell you that was a wrong thing to do. I don't know what about that was wrong, but it was wrong.
Okay, well, it happened.
So Rube Goldberg was this guy that used to write cartoons, draw cartoons.
Oh, really? It was a guy.
And it would be a very complex drawing to accomplish a simple task.
Oh, I was just aware of it as the name of a machine. That's the story behind it.
Yeah, but it was actually a cartoon artist. And so Rube Goldberg would come up with this, we're going to fry an egg or whatever, and he would make this thing that involved pulling a cat's tail and, scissors cutting a string and a balloon going up and all this kind of stuff. So we actually, at work, we would verb Rube. We were like, hey, man, I think I got a way to do this, but I'm going to have to rube a little bit of it, but we'll get there. And so we would always do what we call rube in a solution. But anyway, there was this game growing up called The Incredible Machine, and it was essentially a Rube Goldberg contraption. The rules of physics, you had buoyancy and you had gravity, and you had like sidewards momentum and like momentum laws held true. And so the object would be like, get the tennis ball in the cup. But you had this much string to use. You could use this roll of tape, and you could have these scissors and this balloon. And you have to position them on the screen, and then you hit play, and then it happens. You could even have...
You don't do anything.
No.
You do all the work before, and then it just occurs.
You had to design it. And so you could have a flashlight, and you could put a magnifying glass, and the magnifying glass would take the light from the flashlight and, focus it down, and you could burn a balloon string, for example. So you can imagine what this did for my brain. It was amazing. And so you could just make whatever you wanted and see if it worked. And you would start trying to make it work, and then you're like, no way, I can do this? And it was the best sandbox game I've ever played. I enjoyed it.
How old were you?
No idea. But I think this was after DD, my computer name. This was after DD would serve games up to me. So this was after the batch file business.
Wow.
It was really good.
Okay. The game that prompted in me the most... that's your most magic? That's the game that is your video game magic. When you think of it, you think of that?
I don't know, man. There's so much magic when it comes to video games. But The Incredible Machine was fantastic. I really like the stuff made by Apogee. There was a video game company called Apogee back in the day. The guy that made Commander Keen, I follow him on Twitter now. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I just follow him. Just check him out, see what he's up to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot for me, but The Incredible Machine was pretty awesome.
The magic game for me was the gold cartridge.
Oh, really?
When we went to the store.
Yeah, Zelda.
And I didn't buy it. I couldn't dream of money like that.
Yeah.
But Adam got Zelda, and we went and we loaded up Zelda. And we all saw it for the first time.
Yeah.
And the screen comes up, and there's a waterfall on it.
Yeah.
And Ba, da, 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 da.
And it's a
I'm like,
whole
oh, that's
world.
epic. Listen to the music. That makes me feel things. And then you just put in a name and you start, and the screen scrolls, like the curtain goes up, and there's just this little dude, and you got nothing. You're just naked in the garden, just blinking there in the light, trying to figure out how anything works. And there's a hole. Well, I guess we should go in that hole. And so you go in the hole, and the guy gives you a stick that you can hit people with. And then, like, well, it looks like I can walk over here, and you walk over there. And then you see things. You don't stop to think, are they friendly? You just hit them with the stick immediately until they're dead. They drop some stuff. You don't think to yourself, should I loot the carcass of that pedestrian? Like, I don't even know for sure if he was bad. You loot it. Like, I want that. That's a blue gem. It jingles when I grab it. It's telling me this was morally right.
Rupees.
Rupees.
We used to, when the parents would hang out downstairs and we'd have the cousins over, we would go upstairs and play Zelda. Not on the TV. We would create the world Zelda, and we would have these little coins, like, you know, from a toy that was supposed to still entertain us, but it was like a 3-year-old's toy. We would go hide the rupees, and okay, so we got the level set up. You guys can go in now. And so you'd open the door, and it's like, I'm in Zelda, and you'd have to go find the rupees and the bad guys, and you'd have to hit them with a stick. And how many rupees did you get? You know, it was really fun. We had a lot of. Okay, here we go. Smooth McGroove, Legend of Zelda Overworld theme. Here we go. Dum dum da 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 da.
This is what heroism sounds like to me.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And this is the third time I've used the word intrepid, but just this brave little set of pixels going out into the great wide world. The first time, I sent you a picture one time of my little boy and I out fishing, and he's in the sunset, and I framed it. He's just silhouetted, but it's like the whole shot is just this big, perfect gradient color move of a sunset. And the very bottom is the ground on which he's standing. And in the very lowest little corner is this little silhouetted boy with his little boy chubby cheeks and everything looking up to the sky. And I was picturing 8-bit Link when I took that picture. I was picturing and re-experiencing the emotions.
What do you mean? You mean Zelda?
Yeah.
I mean, you were picturing Zelda.
I was picturing how it felt when there was
the green guy Zelda.
No, you monster.
I'm sorry.
I can't tell for sure if it would be good or bad podcasting for me to just beat you, because I can make it over there and I'm quick. And
so, a low center of gravity too.
Yeah, I do. I'm feisty, like a Wolverine badger.
Okay, Zelda's
hybrid.
the princess. I'm just going to say it. Anyway, go ahead.
You got this whole world. You don't know how far you can go to the east, west, and north. You know you can't go any further south because that's where you start. But it just feels infinite when you're a kid and you're just this little thing, and there are monsters on the far edges of the world you can't imagine defeating. You just have a wooden stick. And it felt so good to just gradually level up and be able to tackle bigger and new challenges and have the tools and the know-how for how to use those tools to overcome obstacles you just couldn't overcome when you just had the wood stick. But now you're ready for that. And so the whole game is rooted in this idea of a great wide world that is all yours. Go take it, go grab it by the lips and yank. That's your job here. But you're not ready yet. There's some things about you that need to change before you can tackle this whole world. But it's meant for you. And in that moment, seeing my little boy standing right there with that beautiful sunset behind him in Wyoming, I snapped that picture because that's where my heart went when I saw him there. Little guy, this whole world is meant for you to unpack. You have some leveling up to do. Like, you got a ways to go. Some things about you will need to grow and change over time, but this open world quest, it is yours to unwrap. And that kind of music, those little themes and that kind of stuff, that's what's rattling around in the back of my head. Now, obviously, I think that my son's life is of much more significance than what can be contained within the parameters of an 8-bit video game cartridge. I get it. But some of those notions of heroism and bravery and adventure and exploration and quest and purpose, those things happen in the formative years. And then maybe you don't think about them again until you're helping somebody else with their formative years.
So in this little metaphor you've got going on here, who's the final boss?
Lucifer, Lord of Darkness. Thank you for that.